3 years ago, I was able to buy a car that I had been wanting for a very long time, a 2009 Spyker C8 Laviolette that I bought from Missy Misdemeanor Elliott, the R&B artist, which I thought added a nice layer of provenance to the Spyker. But Spykers in general have both a crazy business story and a really crazy car in themselves. They've got so many cool features that today would be hundreds of thousands of dollars on your Pagani or your MSO McLaren, like a functional roof scoop and louvered fenders and clamshell designs and center lock wheels and floor hinge pedals, manual transmissions with exposed linkages, aircraft style gauges, all aluminum trim. Such cool cars and lovely, lovely cars to drive with a fairly logical and maintainable Audi powertrain that should make the cars fairly timeless. But the business side of Spyker has always made that a little bit complicated. And so when I bought the car, I had our local Spyker expert who worked with me at Motor Cars of Georgia as the service manager, because we were also a Spyker dealer, although when I joined in 2009, they were already done selling new Spykers, but he was the one who generally maintained this car for Missy Elliott and the cars in general. And so he was able to go through the car, wake up a few things, because it had been sitting for about 5 years unstarted when I got it. But fortunately, the car was in exceptional condition, far better than I expected it to be, far better than I honestly paid for it to be. But he got it nicely woken up, new fluids, new batteries, all the things, and we have had the car running pretty well for the last 3 years and serviced it annually, generally took care of the car, but there were always just little nitpicky things that would be wrong, some that I knew, some that I didn't. But Jasper in the Netherlands is a Spyker enthusiast on Instagram, but he's also working now to totally revamp and revitalize the Spyker brand alongside Victor Mueller and all of the legendary figures of the Spyker brand from 2000 to 2010 when they had the production run of the C8. Now during that run, there were about 266 VINs in the range, but only 200 or so cars actually got built. And so of my car, there's about 60 Laviolettes worldwide, 32 for the US. So an ultra rare, ultra special car and something you just don't see every day. And so I love driving the car, using the car, and it's just a lovely thing to have in the garage. But the concern whenever you have a car that is that boutique, that bespoke, that rare, is that maintainability can be threatened. And so even with a lot of parts bin parts from Audi and things like that, there are still plenty of things that are very, very hard. So even my local expert was looking to Jasper to try to source the parts that he needed to help fix my car. And so there were a handful of things that were always sort of outstanding that I was like, when we get around to it, I'll get the parts from Jasper and things like that. But Jasper called me and said, I am coming to America and I'm going to be servicing a whole bunch of different Spykers, traveling around for a couple of weeks, and I'd love to come to your house for a couple of days and make all the things that you're worried about on your car perfect. And I said, that seems kind of crazy, like with my tools in my garage. But he said, don't worry, I can handle everything. He shipped in some parts and he showed up. And what he was able to do here in my garage with my tools and barely any parts even was truly extraordinary, and it changed the way I could look at the long-term prospect of owning and living with a car like this. We think a lot about fixing up the cars in our garage, but we don't always spend enough time thinking about how we can fix up ourselves. That's why it's so easy to feel stuck or unmotivated or unable to move within our jobs and our careers as we would like to. And if you feel like you're just stuck wherever you're at and you want to free up some time for your passions or your family or to travel, the best thing to do is to invest in yourself. And that's why I want to tell you about today's video sponsor, Triple 10. Triple 10 offers beginner-friendly boot camps that teach in-demand tech skills, and most of their graduates earn at least $70,000 in their new careers. And many of them started in totally different professions as mechanics or delivery drivers or store managers, but they took the risks and learned the new skills that they needed to propel their careers to heights they never imagined. What makes Triple 10 stand out is how practical it is. You'll work on real projects for real companies, so you're not just learning theory, you're building a portfolio you can actually show to employers. And you won't be doing it alone. Their career coaches will be there with you to help you every step of the way, so you'll be able to find a job that fits not just your skills, but your goals as well. And the best part, if you don't land a job in tech within 10 months of graduating, they'll refund all your money, and that's 100% guaranteed. So if you're thinking about making a change, take that first step and start learning a new career with Triple 10 from just $200 a month. You can learn more with their free career consultation at the QR code on your screen or at the link in the description below. But the coolest thing about having Jasper here was really hearing both his passion and his unbelievable knowledge of these cars. And as he went around the car saying, that's not quite right, that's not quite right, it was amazing to just absorb, because everything that I've learned over the years about Lamborghinis, he has done with Spyker. And it's so valuable to the owner and enthusiast community for someone to really take the reins and stash up parts and start remanufacturing the things that are unavailable to make sure that these cars are constantly maintainable. Now, one of the things that I was most excited about is that he was bringing the propeller steering wheel. This was something that wasn't available on the US cars that were required to have driver airbags, although they had a waiver to not have passenger airbags, but it was so consistent with the kind of aeronautical theme throughout the car and consistent with Spyker's history of manufacturing planes in the 1900s. So that requires a different hub assembly with the turn signal on it, a different surround for the steering column, and he had all this just perfectly ready to assemble with minimal tools and put right on my car. As he did so, he was able to program out the airbag light. My horn had apparently not been working. I don't use a horn all that often, but he was able to get that fixed. He was also able to turn off the TPMS sensors, which are a different BMW system and a little bit of a challenge to do. So he was just able to code that out, so no more error light there. Now, in most cases, when you're starting to get into a car like this, the while you're in there is the scary part. But since he was there and he was the expert, that was exactly what I was looking for. For instance, as he had the dash apart to do all the steering column and all this stuff, he's like, oh, well, this LED is supposed to be there for your alarm. I didn't even know it had an alarm. I didn't know if mine worked. He programmed it up to make sure that it was exactly functioning as it was supposed to, got that little light working, and things that I never even would have thought to ask him, but that immediately his eye is drawn to, and as the expert, he was able to repair. When I first got the car, one of the biggest issues was actually removing the wheels. It takes like 600 pound-feet of torque to both put them on and take them off, and they had been grossly over-torqued in the past. And so there is a center cap, or really a dust cover, that you remove, and it's anodized aluminum, and when my guys tried to take it off, they put a little too much pressure in it and just shredded one of them. And they had to cut it off in order to get the rest of the wheel off to be able to change the tires back then, because when I bought the car, the tires were like 10 years old, or I think they were actually older than the car. If I recall, they were date stamped 2007. And so he was able to very carefully drill that one out and extract it perfectly. And he brought 4 new ones to put in, so they now look exactly as it would when it left the production line so many years ago. Another thing that had broken was the emergency release cable. That's one of the risks of having electronically operated doors. There is a way to get in using another key that goes in by the windshield wiper, pops up the passenger door that allows you to crawl through to the driver's side and open the front hood latch. But mine had broken, and so we had rigged up something through the wheel well just in case, but I generally parked the car with the hood already released just in case the battery went dead, so we wouldn't have any issues, because the doors are totally electronic on Spykers. And so he had been able to bring a new cable, reattach that, put it in, go all the way through the door latch and opening up the door, realized that the door handle on the interior had been installed upside down. I don't know if originally or at some previous repair, so he immediately addressed that. Again, something that I never would have thought to even ask for. That passenger door was also just a shade out of alignment, which on a hand-built car was not that offensive to me. The first 69 Spykers were actually built by Coventry Prototypes, and so they are wildly different in fitment and everything like that. This is a later car built by Carman, so a little bit of a higher quality Spyker, but still, you see that kind of variation, and so it never really bothered me, bothered him a lot, and he was able to tweak it, get it exactly in line. Looks like it's just as perfect as a car could ever be. So this little round key has a button for lock and unlock, and it's got a right and left door that would just pop them open, but the struts on my doors were so weak, it didn't work, and the battery was dead, and I had never even really cared to make it work, because you don't really need that, because you don't need to lock the doors on a Spyker, because nobody knows how to open them, they don't know where the door buttons are, and so I had never bothered with it, but he wanted to make sure that it works. He got the key, new battery, programmed, all good. Put a new battery in my Audi key as well, because it was, I guess, low enough that I still needed to put it in the ignition. I didn't know you didn't have to do that. And then it would just wake up when you were in there, hit the ignition switch, hit the start button, and start, I guess, in a more logical way for the crazy start sequence that the car already has. And so he got new struts in and all of that working. So now my putt key works. I can just leave the Audi key in there if I so choose, and then lock and unlock and open the doors the way that Spyker intended. He also replaced the trunk struts, so I didn't have to carry something to prop it open, which I had generally done. They were these little tiny struts that are probably off of something else, but I had never bothered to figure it out when there was a lazy way to address it in the interim. But he is not one to indulge me in such laziness. He wanted to make sure that I had exactly the right ones and that they were working as they should. My front hood bracket had warped very slightly, and so he noticed that it wasn't opening exactly the way he wanted it to. He aligned that and attached one that had lost a bolt over the years, and again was just like, every time I left to come back, get him something to drink, he had fixed 2 or 3 more things. It was amazing to see the progress that he was able to knock out, and when he talked about what he thought he'd be able to do, I thought he was crazy because I'm familiar with how complicated a lot of these cars are and how long just stuff takes to get to. But fortunately, the cars are quite user-friendly. And so as he went through and checked all the fluids and checked everything to make sure that it was all up to spec and exactly as he likes to see them working, he just kept finding a little thing here and a little thing there and knocking them out one by one. So he replaced the wiper blades and polished up the aluminum, and then he got in to sit in the car and he's like, I've got the seat all the way back. He said, no, you don't. And he realized that there was something jammed deep in that had kind of broken off inside of my seat rail. And he's like, I'm going to pull the seat out and get this thing out. I'm going to make it go back another ½ inch, which it makes a big difference in my life. And so I do now even fit in the car better. We also had a little bit of a separation in the window supports, and he was able to glue those back in with the right kind of stuff. And literally he did this all with just the tools that I have, which is minimal, in my garage. And so I couldn't express to him just how grateful I was. And the cost was near nothing relative to what you would expect for somebody to fix this many things on a car. And it's really because he is so invested in Spyker as a brand. Not only because he owns 11 of them himself, but because he believes in the vision of the company, he believes in the vision of the cars originally, and he just loves to see them brought back to life and driven so well. And so fortunately, the values of Spykers have gone up. It's one of the rare cars that is actually worth meaningfully more in Europe than in the US. That doesn't necessarily help the US market the way that it does like the European market for cars that can very easily be brought in, because the cars are still young enough that going into Europe, there is still, in many cases, a 30 or 40% duty or tariff for them to go back in, even as used cars. But in Europe, I mean, even really nice Laviolettes are selling for 800, 900,000, €1 million at some points. And so the market is healthy, and most of that is due to Jasper himself taking such great care of the owner community and taking such great care of the cars. So I felt extremely privileged and very blessed to be a fan of the Spyker brand, an owner in the Spyker community, and a customer of Jasper's. And so I cannot wait to see what he continues to do for and with the Spyker brand, and I can't wait to rack up a whole lot more miles on one of my favorite cars.